I keep threatening to hit you guys with some more of my poetry, so by God, I'm gonna do it. Here's a couple before my phone dies and before I take a little snooze. No one needs to see that. This poem is called Sometimes. Paths are sometimes linear, but not always. Sometimes you have to maneuver yourself clumsily through underbrush, move branches aside, get whacked in the face by the slender, prickly arm of a rosebush, or stub your toe on a big rock. Sometimes you have to veer off to some undiscovered clearing and discover it. Rest, catch your breath, look up to the sky, mouth the word why, as the clouds politely drift by, ignoring your clumsy humanness. The birds, however, both distant and close, are a colorful and constant accompaniment. Sometimes you have to tamp down the unruly earth with brave and determined steps. Stamp stubbornly, stomp proudly, pound out your own path. Perhaps others might follow. Sometimes you even have to risk getting lost, if only to find out you're not. You never were. You just found a different way. This is kind of a long one. What it is and isn't. Is poetry this unattainable, inaccessible, abstract thing? Many think that poetry is all tea leaves and yoga and babbling brooks and exotic locales and catchphrases of enlightenment. Are they ready to know that poetry is the salt that stings the wound and the eyes? That it is, that it is what comes with an anguished yawn at the insomniac's dawn? Or the holy muse which stares accusingly at you when your jaw grinds because of the nocturnal emissions of the guilty yes, yes. Poetry is the last-minute choice between the voice of the knife at the wrist and the silencing of it, the giant fuck you of choosing to go on. Poetry is the tears in the arms of a lover at the edge of the sea, and that same thirsty lover wandering into the briny waves, despondent and alone. Poetry is both the succumbing to death and the reaching out of arms to that which saves you from the riptide of your own mind. Do they really think that poetry is defined by beautiful cinematic locations or academic background? Scholars may study in dusty classrooms, but poetry is the children laughing on the playground. Poetry is both the debauchery of disrobed drunkenness and the stalwart suit of graceful recovery. And guess what? It can rock your world. Poetry will rock your fucking world of all that you know and don't and think you do. Poetry is the gasp and the nervous giggle of the unknown and the ridiculous, the strangled cry and the anxious inquiry. Poetry is speeding your way to the skeeviest bar where the bass guitar is the most real of all the instruments because it provides the subtle backdrop. Poetry is hiking alone and crying your pain raw and raspy into the dark crevices of rock and yawning chasms at the mouths of impossibly high hills that leave you questioning and exhausted. Poetry is huge and tiny and gorgeous and ugly and all and nothing, all at the same damn time. Curse and blessing, like me, like you, like us. It just depends on state of mind. I look very angry and in pain from that, don't I? That was kind of an intense one to come out of me. I think I needed some Tylenol after that one. And now I have to go back and edit my typo. So, thanks for taking part in that with me. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it on some level. This is what I do. This is my favorite thing to do. And it's been dormant for a long time. When I'm in active depression, which is kind of a contradiction in terms, I have not been that inspired. I've gone months and even like a year without writing poetry. I've gone a year without listening to music before. And things are changing. I'm still struggling and grappling with a lot of issues emotionally, but with the meds and with the change in diet and the no drinking and the no smoking and being in therapy and getting a lot of stuff out. You know, it's not a pretty thing to be real and raw and to cry a lot and to let people know all your secrets, and but it's so healthy. You know, it's really good. Okay, that's it for now. Talk to you later. Bye.